This is Crete in February 2026, and today I'll share why we probably won't come here again and where we would go instead. In February, daytime temperatures in Heraklion are typically between 15 and 19 degrees Celsius, and at night it drops to around 9 to 13 degrees. So compared to most of Europe, it's mild. And if you're coming from Northern Europe, this feels like springtime. And this is important. February is still winter in Crete. And it's just a Mediterranean kind of winter. On sunny days, especially when you're standing directly in the sun and there's no wind, it feels genuinely warm. You can sit outside at a cafe, you don't need a heavy coat, and just a light jacket or a sweater is usually enough. However, wind does change everything. Crete can be windy in the winter. Some days are calm and beautiful, and other days bring strong gusts, especially near the coast. And even if the thermometer says 17 degrees, wind can make it feel much cooler. Rain is also part of February. It's within the rainy season. And it doesn't mean it rains all day every day, and most of the time you will have a few hours of rain and then clear skies again. And that's not every day. But heavy showers and occasional storms do happen, often at night in our experience, and the weather can shift quickly. You might wake up to sunshine and by the afternoon it can be cloudy and windy. That unpredictability is something to consider if you're coming for a short trip and hoping for guaranteed sunshine. The day can start moodier, like in this video on the day when I was filming, and in the second part of the day, and you will see it in this very video, it will be very sunny and hot. The water temperature is around 16 degrees Celsius in February, and for most visitors, it's too cold for comfortable swimming. But it makes beaches quiet, empty, and honestly very beautiful. You can walk for long stretches without seeing many people. But this is not beach club season. It's not like it's in the summer in Greece. And this brings me to what I think is actually the biggest advantage of Heraklion in the winter. It's the atmosphere, because it changes completely compared to summer. There are no cruise ship crowds, no packed streets, no long lines at major sites, and you're not standing shoulder to shoulder with tour groups. Heraklion is also not just a seasonal resort town, it's a real city with a university, local businesses, and everyday life happening all year round. So cafes, bakeries, supermarkets, pharmacies, everything is open. You're not arriving to a closed down ghost town, you're experiencing local life. Prices are usually lower compared to peak season, especially accommodation, and I'll show you ours a bit later. Short-term rentals are more affordable in the winter, restaurants are not inflated by tourist demand, and you're interacting more with locals than with other tourists. Me and my husband, we are remote workers, and for people like us, February can actually be a very comfortable month. It's quiet, cafes are not overcrowded, internet infrastructure in Heraklion is stable, and you basically can focus and you don't have the noise and intensity of summer tourism. But there are also practical downsides, and one thing many people don't think about is heating, and buildings in Crete are designed primarily for summer. Insulation is often not as strong as in Northern Europe, so even if outside temperatures are mild, inside apartments, they can feel chilly. Before you book an apartment, you do want to check what type of heating your accommodation has. It's either air conditioning units, radiators, or something else. Our apartment has AC heating, and so far we feel comfortable. We don't run it all day long, and in January we would always switch it on in the evening all the way through the night, but in February we mostly use it only for a few hours in the evening. And just wear warm sweaters inside, that's enough to feel comfortable, as we are not the biggest fans of using ACs for the heating. Another important detail is daylight hours. In February, days are shorter than in the summer, of course, but they are already getting longer and it doesn't feel like deep winter darkness. You still have decent daylight for exploring, working by natural light, and the sunshine is most days, and it really affects your mood in a positive way. Now let's talk about who February in Heraklion is actually perfect for. It's ideal if you prefer fewer tourists and quieter environment, if you enjoy mild temperatures for walking rather than extreme summer heat. If you want to explore historical sites and local neighborhoods without crowds, if you're okay with occasional rain in exchange for space and calm. It's also good if you want to test living in Crete outside of peak season. Summer can feel amazing on vacation, but winter shows you what daily life is really like. On the other hand, February on Crete might not be for you if you're expecting guaranteed sunshine and beach weather every day. If wind annoys you, if swimming is your main priority, or if you're picturing Greece as endless summer all year long. Crete in February is not postcard perfect summer Greece. It's calmer, it's sometimes moodier, sometimes windy, occasionally rainy, but it's also authentic, relaxed, very sunny on most days, and surprisingly comfortable compared to much of Europe at the same time of the year. For me personally, winter in places like Heraklion always feels like you're seeing the real version of a place, and not just a performance for tourists, but everyday life. And that can either feel too quiet or it can feel exactly right. And this is, I think, one of the best parts of living somewhere like Crete, on an island or just near the sea, is to be able to go for a promenade. And originally we were afraid that there just won't be a good promenade, like we're used to in Antalya, for example. And in Heraklion, I must say, there is a small promenade further away from the city center. But here in the center, you have the marina, and marina has all the way to there. I think it's like at least 10 to 15 minute walk. You can go watch the mountains, watch the sea, watch the boats. And definitely it is a joy, especially on a day like this. When it's windier, it's a bit harder to walk here. As you can imagine, you get blown away and sometimes even water splashes you. But there are also plenty of days like this, especially now in February, where it's sunny and it's not even windy. And here, because you are basically right in the sun, I can feel my back burning right now. It's 18 degrees, but in the sun it feels much hotter. You basically can sunbathe when it's not windy. You see many people go here for a run. All the tourists, of course. Here behind the boats there are the big ships that bring the tourists, and I imagine somewhere starting, let's say May, probably even April, there are more and more ships, cruise ships, so here it gets much busier. Now we just walked via the main promenade that leads to Marina, and there were almost no one. But a couple of days ago, on Sunday, one big cruise ship was here, so we did see some tourists walking the promenade, but it was not that many. Maybe, I don't know, couple here, couple there. But I imagine in high season it's like 20 times as crowded. And just look at this view. I mean, whatever is happening in your life, when you see this, you forget about all the troubles. And just listening to the sound of waves. That's a natural antidepressant. And you do see people wearing light jackets, and then again we see people in t-shirts. I can tell you right here, right now, I wish I was in a t-shirt because of the sun, it's that hot. But on a day when it's much more windy here, and there are more days that are windy, you do want something like a windproof jacket, I would say. That's right now in February, of course. So depending on the day, depending on how windy it is, you might bring a jacket with you, at least a light one. Yeah, and look at that island. That's a beauty. And this is where we came from. And all the way there is a short promenade, maybe like 5 minutes. And it's mostly deserted. Well, it's not deserted. I saw a couple of fishermen there, but otherwise the buildings that were along that promenade, they were half abandoned, half not finished. There was no tourist infrastructure, no cafes and stuff like that, restaurants. So even locals don't really come to that promenade that often. So unfortunately, at least Heraklion cannot compare to Antalya. But we did visit a nearby city, Heraklion, and there the promenade all along the beach, and there the walking by the beach part was much more pleasant. So these boats, they are mostly, from what I understand, passenger boats. So if you're traveling from Athens, for example, to Crete, you will be on this boat. We actually traveled with Minon lines some years ago. But also cruise ships also dock here. Now I'm here on a Monday, that's why not that many people here, but on a weekend it's of course more locals come. But as for tourists or expats, don't see that many, to be honest, in February, at least not here in Heraklion. I even tried to find some options for socializing with other expats, and I checked the meetup, the Facebook, and there was just almost nothing. There were some meetups in Athens, of course, but not here in Heraklion, unfortunately. So that might be a consideration if you're coming here for a winter getaway like us. And of course, you can climb this wall. Let's try. And this is your view if you're staying in Heraklion for some time. This is what you're gonna see every time you go for a walk along the beach, along the sea, along the seaside. And it's definitely a privilege to be able to go in February from Western Europe, from Northern Europe, to here, to the south. So I'm definitely not complaining, but I do have some other places to compare it to, which I hope it's helpful for others choosing a location for their winter getaway. And look what I found. I never noticed it here before, and we walked here already many times. But what is this? This is a mini beach. I mean, it's not much, but it is what we have here. Look. So, which countries can I compare February in Crete to, specifically in Heraklion? So we stayed in Antalya for a whole year in Turkey, and once we were in February in Albania, also in their beach city Saranda, and yeah, in Portugal we were in December, but I assume the weather is comparable to February. And out of this selection, I would say I'd choose Antalya for the best infrastructure. It's a big working city, so it doesn't feel abandoned in the winter. I mean, here in Heraklion, it's also not abandoned, and Portugal for sure is not abandoned. But I would say that Antalya for us had the perfect balance. It's not too big, it's not too small, it's big enough. The infrastructure, like all the grocery shops, shopping malls, what have you, some meetups. There is life in the winter. And it's both local life and expat life. Here in Heraklion, there is also life. Not much for expats, but we can see that there is definitely local life. Places are not abandoned. But you do see that basically all the tourist infrastructure is much less than it would be in the summer. And Heraklion itself is not that big of a city. You do have everything that you need. It's just everything just a bit less convenient. And price-wise, I would say that prices here are higher for what, and they are generally, I think, high for what is on offer, so to say. Even though in Antalya, in Turkey, in recent years there was high inflation, but it's still more quality for a lower price, I would say. I mean, it is in the end debatable, and this is not a scientific research type of comparison. It's just my general opinion. If you disagree, share in the comments. Let's start a discussion about it. And look at this, middle of February, clear skies, sea view, mountain view. I mean, all your troubles disappear. Yeah, and I can call this my dream life, because my dream since my 20s was to escape the cold winters, be somewhere where there is sunshine. I never dreamed of becoming ultra rich or of luxuries, but to me this is a luxury. To not be stuck somewhere where it's cold and gray, sitting in the office 8 hours a day, every day, just to keep living, just to survive, and only have 2-week holidays somewhere tropical. For me, I still work. I still don't spend every second just doing nothing or enjoying. But then in the middle of the day I can go out and see this. I mean, Heraklion is not a perfect winter getaway, and I personally think don't know if we will come back again, because there are choices, but I definitely don't regret it. I don't regret coming here, and I definitely feel privileged that I can do this. I mean, they do say you can do anything you want. Possibilities, well, wait, let's cross the road. Yeah, crossing this road, this one that I just crossed, it reminded me that here in Greece it's not very common to stop your car and let people cross the road. Here it's basically almost like in Asia, in Southeast Asia, where, you know, fend for yourself, find a way to cross, just go with the flow. And in general, especially on Crete, the streets, especially in the city center, are very narrow. They are not made for cars. So driving here is a nightmare for sure. We did already rent a car. And yeah, I listened to my husband complain how nobody seems to let you go. And people make it as hard as possible on each other. But it is what people are used to here. That's how it is. And we can complain, but they have their own style. So this is something to get used to if you plan some road trips here. So what I was talking about, that I don't know if I will come back on Crete in the winter, or most likely we are now do think for next year maybe Antalya, and we also haven't been to Canary Islands yet. But we keep comparing, for example, here to Antalya, that there is just infrastructure is so much better for us for 1 to 3 months stay, that for convenience we would definitely go to Antalya again. But because you only live once, and before you know it you're 80 years old and cannot travel anymore. I bet there are 80-year-olds who can, but if I look at myself, by 80 I would probably not travel so much anymore. So we haven't seen Canary Islands, we haven't spent the winter getaway in the south of Spain, and yeah, so many choices. We did visit Malta, not in the winter, in the summer, and overall I liked it. My husband didn't so much. I mean, it was okay for him, but it was clear to us that this will not be our winter getaway for 2 months. We spent there like 5 days. So where do we turn? Let's turn here. So yeah, in Malta we were for 5 days, and then we decided to look somewhere else for longer stay for the winter, and we settled on Crete, Heraklion, here, and this is our 2nd month. And I don't regret that we chose for Crete. The weather here is definitely really good in the winter, especially now in February. It got even better than it was. Look at this luxury suite. Doesn't look very luxury, but maybe inside it's luxury. But it is right at the sea. To the right, there's the sea. So yeah, the weather here, I would say, better than in Antalya in January and February. Antalya was rainier, and it was a couple degrees on average colder. So weather-wise, this is better here in Heraklion. But yeah, I keep coming back to infrastructure. And right now I'm right in the old city. So here is some infrastructure. Outside we drove, well, there are shops for daily needs, but not much social life for expats. At least that's what's my impression. Antalya is a bigger city, there's more of everything. So for that, I would like it better there as a digital nomad or just a winter getaway for a couple of months. But yeah, let's see what will happen next year. There is quite some traveling to do this year. We are also going to Italy in spring. Who knows, maybe we'll go to Italy in the winter. I mean, the streets here look a bit abandoned, like almost no people, even though it's an old town. But these streets, they are like side streets. So all the action, all the crowds are on the central shopping streets, where all the cafes and restaurants are as well. So that's the reason. I can even see already right now there are a bit more people ahead. And the thing that I was talking about earlier, that they say you can achieve anything you want. Just go for it. Put in as much effort as you can. And if you couldn't, you're just lazy. Well, I have a comment on that. Yeah, we have to work to get something that we need, and everything is possible. But we also start differently. Some people are born with serious health issues. Others are perfectly fine. Some people are born mesmerizingly beautiful and everything comes easy to them. And others don't. Some people born rich, others born poor, and we don't know what's worse. But that's not my point. We might need different amount of effort, and one person can work throughout the summer and save up enough money to travel the world for a year, living in hostels. That person would be from a country with a strong economy and also with a strong passport. And another person is born, let's say, in the Philippines. It's really hard to travel for them and really expensive. And considering the salaries, it's nearly impossible. I don't know for how many years as an average Filipino person you have to be saving up to be able to afford a worldwide trip, even living in hostels. So that's why, even though it took me a lot of effort, a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of perseverance in what I want and how much I want it, how much am I willing to work for it. But still, I feel that I am privileged that I was able to get it. I feel privileged that this is my life now, where I can go for a winter getaway. It didn't just fall into my hands. I had to work for it. I had to fight for it. But I know that there are many people for whom it's even more hard and almost unachievable. So, because it was achievable for me, I feel the privilege. I feel that it's part of not taking things for granted. What you have might not last, and you have to keep keep it in your head that every good moment is worth celebrating, every good moment is worth paying attention to it. Let's think of something more practical, and that's groceries. Let's see. So we got some fruit and vegetables from the shop, and I must say, at least right now in January and February, the fruit and vegetables in supermarkets are not the greatest. But I do assume that's just not the season. And here right in front we see Wash and Go, so there's a laundry express and luggage storage. If you're transiting, very convenient. And now I am actually going to a butcher shop. And we've discovered that at local butchers, even in the city center, the price of meat is half the price of what we see in Lidl. So that was surprising. Dog parking. And because of a lower price, we were sort of skeptical of the quality, but it turned out really good meat. So we are regular customers there now. And here actually this side street is really pretty and well maintained, which I must say in the old city it's not everywhere. So for digital nomads I would say infrastructure is not the best here. Coffee shops are not really for sitting on your laptop. There's Starbucks in the city center, in the old city, but yeah, that's about that. This is the butcher shop. I'm not gonna film inside to not disturb the workers and the owners, but here you can see prices of some of the things. So I wanted to visit an art shop. Really interesting art shop here. I've been here a couple of times already, I must confess. I'm a regular, but like some other shops, you can see on a Monday they only work till 3, and on Wednesday, and on Saturday I think. So yeah, that's an interesting schedule. I mean, interesting for me, unusual for me, I guess quite common here. And for anyone interested, they have mostly student grade art supplies, like Dutch royal talents and some of the local ones too. But yeah. And as to the butcher shop, for a total of 14 euro I got 4 drumsticks, chicken drumsticks, about 600 gram and 300 gram of beef. So how does it compare to where you are? Leave a comment. Right now I'm still in Old Town, inside the Venetian walls. So here I turned away from the busy street, from the noisy one, to walk on the side streets. And here are many Airbnbs located, including ours. And at first we were a bit surprised, I would say, how old this neighborhood looks, and it's partially restored, but also a lot of places not. Many graffiti works and buildings that are falling down. I mean, this is an example of well-maintained street. Especially this road is really good. So let's walk here. But many buildings are falling down. So that was a bit concerning for us. But we learned that we are actually very well located, mostly because we are inside Venetian walls. All the tourist attractions, cafes, small shops, it's all close by. So you get everywhere on foot. You don't need a bus, because the bus is only type of public transport here. But we don't need it. We're close to the wall, and it's really nice to walk on that wall. But we're also close to the old city and to the pier. And we were concerned about parking actually. We were concerned about parking when we wanted to rent a car, but as you can see, there are plenty of parking slots. I mean, some people park like this, many people. But the streets are so narrow, especially with the rental car, you don't want it scratched. But luckily for €10 a night, you can park your car in many designated small parking areas. So that's definitely an upside. You can hear how quiet it became away from the main street, away from the traffic. And definitely, I mean, the old buildings, they do add its charm, I must say. You are transported back in history. And in terms of safety, I feel pretty safe right now. Don't know how it is at 10 p.m. But right now, I'm very safe. As you can see, the parking situation is just like this. Everyone parks how they want, how they like. Basically, if there's a spot available, somebody will park there. But yeah, it's an island, what do you want? This was not built for cars. Many cats. All of them have a bit of a PTSD, I must say, which is understandable. Lots of traffic, lots of people. Easy to get in someone's way. Here is even a little old villa, which seems to be maintained and restored. Yeah, it's really amazing to see how the main road is so busy. Oh, you're a cutie. The main road is so busy, and here I'm almost all alone. So there's the main street again. I don't want to go there. Let's walk here. By now, we walked here a couple of times, these side streets, but I'm not exactly sure of the route. Just going with the flow, and soon our... Oh, that's a granat. Look at that. A bit shabby granat. How is it in English? I forgot. Pomegranate. Granat is in Dutch. So yeah, our 2 months on Crete are soon to be over in 2 weeks. And what's my overall opinion? And I already shared earlier that probably we're not coming to the same place again, to Heraklion again next winter. Probably we will go somewhere else, either in Europe or in Turkey. So it didn't impress us enough, so to say. Not that we don't appreciate the opportunity to be here. Oh, evil eye. I get distracted all the time, but there are so many cute things here. We probably are not returning. However, I can definitely recommend coming here in the winter for people who are mostly looking for good weather within the European Union or even within Europe at a still reasonable price, I think. There is a choice of accommodations. They are, I would say, on a higher price for what they are, but good deals to be found. Book early and you definitely can find something that's a good deal. Of course, you cannot swim in January or February, but yeah, even when we arrived in January, it was already sunshine. It was like 18, 19. It was also lower on other days, but overall, I would say the weather is definitely a pro. The con is the infrastructure, like I mentioned. It's decent. There are supermarkets, coffee shops, restaurants, some things to do, but not that much. I'd say that could be better. And we seem to have not found any opportunities to socialize for expats. I mean, if you're single, probably dating apps are the way to go. But if you just want friends, we couldn't find. I mean, maybe we didn't look hard enough in terms of quality of food, quality of restaurants. Again, we are a bit spoiled, I must say. But we did find a good restaurant, good Italian, for Valentine's Day. If I'm not wrong, it's called Pastarella. So that was a pro. We tried to order sushi from a restaurant that had good reviews, and their sushi were relatively pricey, but not that great. But again, maybe if we tried 10 other restaurants, we would find something good. As for overall budget, we still yet to see what we spend monthly, but I'd say budget for apartments from 1,000 to 1,500 for decent quality. And for groceries, yeah, don't know how much we spent. I think it's a bit pricey here overall, again, for the quality. And looking at prices at the supermarkets, they are, I would say, higher than in Bulgaria, comparable even to Netherlands. But as we all know, salaries here do not match Dutch salaries. So it is a mystery how local people can afford to shop at those supermarkets. And one thing that might be useful for you if you're a digital nomad, and well, we were here for 2 months, and of course our Airbnb is great. I will put on some footage of it, but of course it didn't have an ergonomic chair or even good work table for work. Our dining table was too high and other tables were just children's tables. So we bought at least one ergonomic chair, and we bought it at Jysk, at Scandinavian furniture store. And what we saw then, just out of curiosity, I compared the price on that chair with the price in Bulgaria at Jysk and in the Netherlands at Jysk. And in both Bulgaria and the Netherlands, the price is like 50 euro cheaper. That just blew my mind. How come? It's the same yisk, the same chair, and here people have to pay 50 euro more. That was just mind-blowing. How do shops get away with something like this? I cannot understand. I mean, it's the same shop, the same European Union, and here the labor and the rent is lower than in the Netherlands, but your goods, your furniture costs like 30% more. How come? How come, Yisk? That's a lovely vintage. Yeah, so that's me complaining about the prices again. I'm a professional at that. My highest viewed, one of the first viral videos on mine on YouTube was about the prices. So since then I'm leaning into that topic, reviewing the prices in the countries and costs of living, and it's understandable because for so many people the cost of living is just through the roof. They have to work 3-5 jobs, have a couple of side hustles just to survive. So here we are again on a busy street, and this is where I will leave you. Yeah, tot see you soon, and let me know what you thought about this walk and talk video. I really appreciate any kind of feedback.